Hey, what's happening, everybody? Carlos Redlich here. I've got an amazing person. I'm going to let her introduce herself for a second, but she's really cool. She's somebody I've known for a very long time. She's a doctor, a crazy, amazing doctor, and she's really someone who I figured would know a little bit more about this whole coronavirus stuff than I do, or pretty much any other marketer, because the reality is we just know how to sell stuff. We don't really know anything else for the most part. So why don't we go ask an expert? So with me, I've got Dr. Aisha Tandon. What's happening, Dr. Aisha?
Not much. Just to give you a little introduction about me, I am a physician. I'm a pulmonary lung specialist as well as a critical care physician. I work over at Banner University in Phoenix. So I am happy to join Carlos in kind of educating people about what's going on with the coronavirus and what it is. So let's get started.
Well, let's start with that. What is COVID-19? How did it start? Where did it come from? How is it spreading? Let's just dive right in.
Sure. So coronavirus, which is what COVID-19 is, it's a type of virus that has a large umbrella and many different coronaviruses. All of us have probably experienced a coronavirus of some type at some point in time in our life. Now, COVID-19 started in Wuhan, China. How it started, what started it, no one can really say, but it's a coronavirus that no one has ever experienced before. And that's why it's spreading as fast as it is, because our immune systems have never, ever dealt with it. And so as it started in Wuhan, China, and people started to experience it in the hospital, not knowing what it was, transmission occurred, people were traveling, and now we're seeing it everywhere. The way that it's spreading, now that's been proven that it spreads in your saliva, in your secretions. So if you're coughing, if you're sneezing, but it's not just floating around in the air by itself. And that's a different type, so that gives us a little bit more comfort, but that is how it's spreading. So touching things that other people touched after they went like this, that is a possibility of how this is spreading.
Interesting. So what are some of the symptoms we should be looking out for?
So, it's really interesting because like with all viruses, everybody's going to experience this virus a little bit differently. And so it's good that not everybody who gets the virus is dying. Actually, only right now, about 1% of patients who are getting this virus are passing away. And we must remember also that the people who are passing away are older or have some sort of immune deficiency. Now that's passing away. But let me be clear that anybody at any age with any immune system can get this virus. The difference is how and what the symptoms will be. Most of us will experience a mild cold. We'll think we had the flu. That's how we'll feel.
That was my next question. I mean, a lot of people compare it to the flu.
Right. And you won't know initially, like with these symptoms, you'll feel tired. You'll want to stay in bed. You'll have that, usually starts with a sore throat, stuffy nose, cough, you don't feel well. And then it passes after a week's time. That cough might linger. And that's what most of us are going to experience. And then there's going to be some people who get a little bit worse. They really have a strong cough, a really productive cough. They may even have a fever. And then you have your subset of people who are getting these terrible pneumonias. They're requiring hospitalization and really severe intensive care. And so that spectrum is also what we see with other viruses. That's not anything that's new to us. And so we shouldn't be afraid of the patients who get really, really sick with that pneumonia. That's what we deal with every virus. What we should also be very aware of is that all of us majority of us will face it as a minor cold. And so really for me, I'm not even afraid of getting the virus when I'm handling these patients. What I'm afraid of is that this spread is going to continue and affect people who are going to be at risk for these very serious cases. And that will make this propagate more. And so closing schools was a great idea because kids seem to not be affected as much from this virus. And yet there's a possibility that they are being a carrier.
And they could take it to a grandparent or something like that.
Exactly. And so schools closing is a very good idea. Keeping your kids inside, not because they're going to get it and suffer from it, which they can, but because they're going to spread it to you, to your grandparent, to somebody that you know.
Wow, that makes sense. I mean, so at what point should somebody go to the hospital or so? I mean, like once you start coughing, I mean, at what point? Because I know some people may feel silly saying, I don't know if I'm going to look like an idiot just going and I just have a flu. Because I'm the type of person who would go in. I'm like, holy moly, I'm coughing. Emergency room.
I'm going right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is how it's going right now with that. And that's a really good question. So first and foremost, initially it was, well, did you have any exposure? Were you exposed to anybody? Did you travel? Did anyone you were in contact with, recently go to France? I had a friend who went to Europe to propose to somebody, and I've had an interaction with that person, and that was in the last 2 weeks. So initially it was about exposures, like abroad and travel and whatnot. But now coronavirus is in the community. So it's no longer about who you're exposed to, who you weren't. So that's one. Two, then you start to have some symptoms. Try to isolate yourself from your family, from other people, and activate a self-quarantine. You're not feeling well, you're coughing, you have a sore throat, you just don't feel right. You think maybe I have the flu. Oh my God, is this coronavirus? Regardless, you put yourself away, you take care of yourself, eat, hydrate yourself, give yourself vitamins, do the boosts that you have. I'm sure a lot of people went out and bought Airborne and all that kind of stuff. Take it all, rest, and, watch your body, because the key here is that if it escalates, you're coughing up so much stuff, you can't breathe. Are you a smoker? Do you have lung disease already? Is it getting worse? Is your fever? Make sure you guys get a thermometer, try to check your temperature. Are you feeling very, very hot? Are you sweating? Did you lose your appetite? Is this now day 3 and you feel worse? Now we have an issue. If you have a doctor, give your doctor a call, because it is fluxing right now as to what is the approach. And there are places that have, tests that either can be sent to you, or they can direct you exactly where to go so that you can get a test performed. Okay. And so that's if your symptoms are really, really escalating. And if your symptoms have gotten so bad that you're like, I just need to go to the hospital, call the ambulance or go to the hospital. Now, in the emergency room, all of our hospitals, including mine, have set up protocols now specifically for coronavirus. And so they will take you and kind of isolate you. They'll initiate initial tests. They won't test you right away for COVID-19. So you can't just walk in somewhere and be like, test me, and then you'll get tested. That's not going to happen, because right now tests are limited, and the state of Arizona, the infectious disease sort of groups, they don't want to just test everybody and cause this sort of
panic.
chaos. And so what they're doing is they're running your labs. They're doing imaging of your lungs, because now, thankfully, China being China and how fast it is with all of its stuff, they've produced all this data. And now we're looking at it. So if your chest x-ray looks a certain way, if your fever looks a certain way, if your numbers look a certain way, all of these things will then trigger the doctors to say, I'm really afraid. I think this is COVID. We got to start the testing. We have to isolate them. Now, again, it's your saliva, so it's called droplet isolation. It's no longer thought to be and proven to not be in the air. And so you don't have to wear the big masks. You just have to wear the small ones, the providers. And that kind of gets me into the next thing about masks.
Yeah, no, please go. Yeah, keep going.
We'll get into that. So that's what's going to happen if you have the symptoms, and those should be the steps that we take in terms of, when do I go to the doctor? When do I not? It's really that initially when you have your symptoms, isolate yourself, take care of yourself, do everything you do if you had the flu. If you get worse, that's when you pick up the phone and you call a doctor if you have one. And if you don't, then you can go to an urgent care or you can go to a hospital and they will start a workup for you. It's not wrong to want to go, but when you go, just make sure you're careful by wearing gloves, by, if you have gloves, just put on gloves. If you are coughing or sneezing, please put on a mask for other people. The mask is not to protect you. Okay? Put on the mask for other people, like your family and your kids. You know, you don't want to keep this going. So now about masks.
Yeah. I was going to ask, that was my next one. I'm like, how do we protect ourselves? Is there a vaccine? What can we do?
Right. And so honestly, I genuinely, I'm in the boat of the entire world should shut down. No gatherings, no social outings, no restaurants, no school, no work if you
So
can
I should
avoid.
cancel Orange Theory.
Yes.
Okay.
No gym. Gyms are bad, guys.
Yeah.
When you're in a gym, all your body is just giving off all kinds of things. No more gyms. Go outside, go for a run by yourself. Don't touch anybody. Okay? Like, the world needs to kind of take this seriously because it is everywhere and it is spreading. Take it seriously, not because you personally are going to die from it, but if we don't, we're going to keep seeing that others are going to pass away, and we don't want that. Imagine if it was your own grandparent or uncle or aunt. And so, you know, stay inside as much as you possibly can. If you need to go to the grocery store and buy some groceries, that's fine. Just be aware of what you're touching. Don't touch your face. We touch our faces so much. So just wash your hands. Just be more aware of all of that stuff and try to just be outside as limited as possible for the next couple of weeks. I really, really suggest that. I heard somebody say, you know, I'm going to still do this. I have my wedding. I have this funeral. Shut it all down, because, you know, you think you're invincible, but you aren't to this. Because our immune systems have never seen it. And how your immune system is going to respond to it, you don't know.
Wow.
No one can tell you. So then masks. If you aren't sick, you really don't need a mask. You just need to be cautious. And that's because when you put a mask on, that front of the mask now becomes the outside. It's exposed to everything. So you put your mask on, you get in your car, you drive to the grocery store, you're wearing your mask, and all of a sudden your nose itches. You've touched a bunch of stuff. If you were to try to reach into your mask, maybe you could, after you sanitized your hands, maybe you could, but if you touch the outside of the mask at any point in time, you've contaminated yourself. And then taking the mask off as well can actually cause you to touch your face more. Masks can cause you to touch your face more. And, you know, you just don't want to do that. If you are sick, then you should wear a mask and keep your secretions in so that you're not infected other people. But if you're not sick, masks will cause you to have more contact with your face and a potential contaminated area where droplets will be. If somebody were to be coughing or that's where those droplets are. And so you got to be really, really careful just with all sort of objects that people touch and handle. Be very careful, you know. So your cell phone, when you're touching other things and then you touch your cell phone, if you went outside and you were like in your car, you know, your steering wheel, the door handles to your garage. So these are your seatbelt. So if you did go out in the panic and get Clorox wipes, or you do still have some or whatever it is, just keep trying to wipe those things down. You know, I went to the bank and I was using the ATM machine. I was like, I wonder how dirty this thing is.
People pick their nose and stuff.
I don't know. And I'm just, and so, you know, it's really interesting to stop and think about who you could be exposed to on a regular basis. And
that's interesting.
Yeah.
So if we have it, and I think you kind of answered this a little bit, but you know, if I think I have it or something, or a family member has it, what should we do? Just quarantine ourselves and them?
Yeah. And I mean, first and foremost, just remain calm. Please try to remember that a lot of people have suffered from this disease now, and they are okay. And you will be too, because we have a lot of things going in the hospitals too, if it did become to that point. Nonetheless, stay inside, quarantine yourself, watch your body, take care. Make sure you stay out of contact from people, continue to wash your hands. Do not go outside if you get sick. Please do not go outside. Make a phone call your doctor, tell them your symptoms, and let it escalate slowly from there, but remain calm. Always remain calm.
Got it. And that's something a lot of people aren't doing right now. I went to
No,
Walmart. It was insane. I'm trying to stock up on toilet paper, not because I'm so scared of the coronavirus. I'm just scared I'm going to run out of toilet paper now.
right?
It's
And
scary.
it's really funny because people just don't like. You can wash your butt, guys. You can literally like Asian people have been washing their butts and not using toilet paper for
Which
centuries.
is probably a bit more sanitary, huh?
I mean, it is, if you think about it. Yeah. Remember we watched that comedy, if you, like, when you poop, like, there's poop stuck on the hairs in your butt, like, and then you just wipe. Like, if you got poop in your hair, would you just be like, oh, here's some toilet paper. Let me wipe it off, right? But
It doesn't make sense,
we do
does
that
it?
with our butts. So anyway, like what Asian people do is they have like a little like pouring thing, like a little water bottle or whatever it is, and they wash their butts, and then they use either a towel that they can either throw away or wash or whatever it might be.
Well,
But
my friend,
there are options.
yeah, well, my
toilet
buddy
paper.
Mitch has some kind of gun. I forget, I think he's in Thailand or something. He has like a gun, and it's like a squirt. I'd never seen it, but it's like,
You can buy them on Amazon and attach them into your toilet.
yeah.
You don't even have to do it yourself. You literally just push a button. It squirts water at your butt. It feels kind of nice.
Hey, there you go.
Right? Like, so, but
Well-
nonetheless, that panic is a little bit crazy, because I think that if it did get to a very crazy situation and everything shut down, it would be like Italy, where everybody would be asked to stay inside, but grocery stores, pharmacies are still open. You can still kind of go for a walk, but they're trying to limit your movement.
So if I go to the doctor, what kind of stuff can I expect to happen? What are they going to do to me? Am I going to just be like thrown in a chamber and locked away forever? Or
It really depends. It really depends on how sick you look when you first get to the door, and what your vital signs, like your fever, your blood pressure, everything like that, what that is. And that from that point, then, if you're just going to a doctor's office, they may suggest one way or the other about how sick you are. And that's why I'm trying to say, limit going when you just are, kind of sick. Try to stay in and see how this progresses, because there's not much we can give you right away. And we'll just tell you, wait it out. We're not just going to say, oh, you think you have coronavirus, we're taking you into a hospital and locking you in a room and seeing what happens, because we don't have the resources to do that. We're really trying to assess you, say, how bad are you right now? Go home, quarantine yourself, let this pass, or you're really sick, we need to move you to a hospital. And so that's kind of where it's at. And your doctor, if they have the ability to, may do your blood work, may take a chest x-ray to help make those decisions. But they're not going to isolate you right away. They may say, you need to wear a mask, do not touch anybody, and go stay in a room for 2 weeks, which sucks. But that's what this is going to require. And, no, this is unlike any other virus. This is surpassing other things that we've experienced. And in our lifetimes, a lot of lifetimes don't experience a pandemic. And in this lifetime, hopefully this is our only one. But no one really knows what to do.
Well, I think this was super helpful, because there's a lot of like hysteria out there, and a lot of people don't know anything. We're just like kind of commenting, at least in my little circle of marketers. So I wanted to bring a real expert on, and that's you, Dr. Tandon. Thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure. I hope this helps you guys.
Guys, go wash your hands.
Yes. Really, for 20 seconds. I'm serious. Get the sides too.
20 seconds, guys. Do it now.